We all chase something, don't we? More success, maybe more peace, more love, perhaps just a little more quiet in our minds.
Mm.
But what if the real path to truly having, well, everything wasn't about chasing at all? What if it was about this radical act of letting go? Could life's greatest secret be something that honestly challenges our instincts so much that maybe 99% of people, they might not even want to know it? That's exactly what we're diving into today. We're exploring a really profound concept from Paramhansa Yogananda, the yogi who brought these self-realization teachings to the West. The concept is become zero and gain everything. And right away, it makes you stop and think, zero? How on earth can zero lead to everything? And it sounds backward.
Exactly. It feels incredibly counterintuitive, doesn't it? Especially, in a world that just constantly screams, get more, accumulate. No.
Mhm.
So our mission in this deep dive is to really unpack what Yogananda meant by zero. How does one actually get there? And maybe most importantly, how can this idea actually change your everyday life?
Yeah.
How can it shift you from always wanting to, well, deeply having?
Right. So and to really get our heads around this, the first big question has to be, what does become zero actually mean? I mean, on the surface, it sounds like completely emptying yourself out. No expectations, no fears, no attachments, even no sense of decay, like a total shedding.
And what's so fascinating and key here is that this isn't about losing something valuable. It's actually, well, it's the complete opposite. Yogananda presents this zero state as the really fertile ground, the starting point for a brand new beginning. It's the space where true power, infinite possibilities are actually born. Think of it like dry, parched land. It looks empty, right? But the moment rain falls, it just explodes with life. In the same way, a mind in this zero state isn't barren at all. It becomes incredibly receptive, filled with spiritual energy, completely ready for profound growth.
Okay, that's a huge shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, we're often stuck in that cycle, aren't we?
Yeah.
Always pursuing the next thing, the promotion, the relationship, more stuff. Our sources really highlight how none of that brings lasting happiness. You get it, and then you feel like you need something else. And that constant chase, it just clutters up our minds, doesn't it? With ego, desires, worries. It feels like it traps us, pulls us further away from any real sense of peace.
Absolutely. And if we connect that directly to Yogananda's core teaching, true liberation, real joy, it only comes when we manage to step out of that complex web of ego and desire. And that right there is what happens when we become zero. In this state, all those illusions, the fears, the stress, the expectations, even temporary attachments, they just dissolve. But it's crucial to understand it's not an empty void. Not at all. It's more like a deep, vast space full of unlimited potential. It's completely open to the infinite energy of the universe. It's a state of pure presence, really.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. Moving from philosophy to, well, how do you do it? Because achieving this, it's not painted as some quick fix, is it? It's described as a long, sometimes difficult, and definitely patient journey. It means we have to quiet that constant internal noise. The self-doubt, those nagging questions like, what should I do? Or am I ever going to succeed?
Yogananda really emphasized that rising above those questions, letting go of those constant desires, that's what leads you to the true state of zero. It's a space that's beyond all that confusion, and it's just filled with peace and a sense of oneness. But for many people, this raises a really practical question. If our minds are usually so full, how do we even start making space for this kind of inner quiet?
That's a really crucial point. And a huge part of becoming zero, as the teachings suggest, is this idea of letting go of the ego. We usually define ourselves by things we can point to, right? Our name, our job, our body, what we've achieved, our roles in life.
Yes, but from that ancient spiritual viewpoint, our real identity isn't tied to any of those surface things. Not really. Our true identity is seen as the cosmic consciousness, that vast, interconnected awareness that exists within and connects absolutely everything. It's recognizing the self in all.
So when you become zero, you're not just ditching your personal baggage, so to speak. You're actually tapping into that universal consciousness. It's like realizing you're not just a separate wave, but you're fundamentally part of the entire ocean. You see, you're not alone. You're deeply connected to everything.
And what's really profound is the outcome of that realization. That connection, that sense of oneness, naturally brings you closer to everything you genuinely seek. Things like peace, love, even success and joy. It's like finding the master key, not by grabbing more things, but by stepping back and realizing you're already part of it all.
Okay, I can just hear listeners thinking, this sounds amazing, beautiful even, but how? How do I actually do this in my busy life? Because let's face it, the concept is one thing, but putting it into practice, that always feels like the hardest part.
It can feel that way, definitely. But the good news, as Yogananda taught, is that it's not impossible. It just comes through consistent, dedicated practice. He laid out a clear path. Yes, he detailed several really powerful practices. First off, cultivating what's called an attitude of witness, or sakshibhava. This means you start each day by consciously calming your mind, and then you try to observe life without immediately judging or reacting. When things happen, good or bad, you just observe them, almost like an outsider watching a play. This creates a bit of mental distance. It really reduces that inner turmoil and builds peace. And importantly, it helps you start to see the ego's patterns so you can begin to let them go.
Observing, not reacting. Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Then there's meditation. Yogananda called this the most powerful tool. And it's much more than just, sitting quietly with your eyes closed. It's about the complete concentration of your entire being. He specifically taught that our breath is the vital bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world. So by focusing deeply on your breath, its rhythm, maybe its subtle sound, its gentle movement in the body, your mind naturally begins to quiet down. It frees itself from all that unnecessary mental chatter.
The breath is a bridge. I like that.
And related to sound, there's mantra chanting. A mantra like Om, often seen as the primal sound of creation, or maybe Soham, which translates to I am that, linking you to the universal, is essentially a sound or word vibration that helps free the mind from agitation. It centers your energy, brings stillness, and cultivates this deep inner power. And tied closely to breath is pranayama. This is the ancient science of controlling life energy, or prana, through specific breathing techniques. By directing and purifying this vital energy, pranayama doesn't just balance your physical body, it profoundly strengthens and focuses the mind, making that deep stillness much more accessible.
Okay, so witness attitude, meditation, mantra, pranayama, quite a toolkit.
There's more. Also really essential is self-reflection. This means engaging in honest self-inquiry, maybe daily, asking yourself things like, is there stress in my mind right now? Is some emotion holding me back? Am I really truly at peace with myself? And the key here is radical honesty. Only then can you take real steps.
That honesty part sounds potentially uncomfortable, but necessary.
It can be, but it's vital. And finally, perhaps the most challenging for many of us is surrender. Yogananda taught that to truly become zero, you have to surrender all your expectations, all your desires, to the universe or the divine, however you conceive it, trusting that whatever unfolds is ultimately for your highest good. When you manage to do that, to really let go, all the energy that was tied up in worrying and striving gets freed up. And this liberated energy then taps into the very power that can fulfill your deepest dreams, often in ways you couldn't have planned or imagined.
Now, I can imagine someone hearing surrender and emptying oneself and thinking, hang on, won't that just make me passive, like lose my drive?
Yeah.
But the sources are pretty clear that being zero doesn't mean becoming some kind of doormat, right?
Oh, not at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Being zero means awakening your inner energy with full awareness, with a really powerful sense of presence. Think about it. Hatred, greed, tension, these are all products of a mind that's grasping, fearing loss, feeling separate. In the zero state, those things just don't have fertile ground. Instead, you're tapping into something far more potent, far more aligned with the natural flow of life.
So this emptiness, it isn't a void at all. It's actually a profound connection, a connection to the infinite power of the cosmos.
Exactly that. It leads you directly to the experience of being one with the energy that flows through everything. Oneness with the divine, you could say. That boundless creative force behind all existence. And here's the really astonishing part, the part that sounds almost paradoxical. When this oneness is deeply understood, deeply lived, your genuine needs and even your deeper desires often begin to fulfill themselves, almost automatically. It's not magic. It's like your energy shifts, and you become receptive to what is truly meant for you, what aligns with that deeper reality.
Wow. Okay, reaching that state sounds, well, incredible, almost utopian. But then comes the reality check, maintaining it, keeping that state amidst the chaos of everyday life, the bills, the deadlines, the relationships. That's presented as even more crucial, isn't it? That stability is like the real test.
Absolutely. That's a key insight from Yogananda. The state of zero shouldn't just be some fleeting moment you find only on a meditation cushion. It needs to become a living habit, something present in every breath, woven into the fabric of your daily life.
So how do we do that? What habits help maintain it?
Well, first, you keep developing that habit of being a witness, continuously observing everything, thoughts, emotions, external events, without that immediate knee-jerk reaction. This keeps the mind peaceful, detached from the drama. Second, making meditation and pranayama a non-negotiable daily routine, even if it's just for a few minutes. Consistency here can profoundly transform your inner energy and keep you anchored.
Okay, consistency is key. Makes sense.
Third, practicing radical self-love and acceptance. Really accepting yourself fully, flaws and all, without that constant inner critic judging everything. This brings such profound inner peace and comfort. Fourth, actively maintaining an attitude of deep gratitude and positive thinking. Gratitude literally connects your energy to the abundance of the universe. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's already here. And lastly, always keeping that spirit of surrender alive. When challenges pop up, big or small, consciously hand them over to the divine or the universe with faith. This act lightens the mental load enormously and keeps you steady, rooted in that state of zero, even when things get tough.
So it sounds like when these habits move from being things you do to just
Yeah.
how you are,
Yeah.
they become second nature. Then you're not just occasionally entering the state of zero, you actually start to live from it. It becomes your default way of being.
Exactly. And that's the culmination. Your thoughts, your actions, your very energy begin to naturally reflect the harmony and power of the universe. Everything you experience starts to feel complete. There's no fear pulling you back, no doubt clouding your vision, just wholeness. A deep, unshakable contentment. You reach this amazing point where there's no desperate craving to get anything more because you've experienced the truth of being everything already.
And that, I think, brings us right back around full circle to that core message. True zero isn't emptiness. It's absolute completeness. It's a way of living fully, consciously, powerfully, really understanding your place in the grand scheme of things.
To summarize Paramhansa Yogananda's incredibly profound teaching, become zero, gain everything. What it really means is truly knowing yourself, fully realizing who you are, not just as this limited individual self, but as an inseparable part of that vast cosmic power that is present in all of us, in everything. It's about releasing the small, constricted self to embrace the infinite self.
So thinking about that, if becoming zero means experiencing being everything and realizing that true power comes from releasing, not grasping, here's something for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. What is one small expectation, maybe one tiny desire, or even just one self-limiting belief that you could perhaps begin to surrender today, just to create a little bit of that new expansive space and see what truly transformative thing might just enter your life?